Hey guys, so today's video topic is an important one and touches on one of my pet peeves, which is the idea that you need to consume fish or fish oil in order to get all your essential omega-3s, especially DHA, and that is just not true. Fish oil is one of the most advertised, promoted, and widely used supplements in the world, with sales in the United States alone reaching over $1.2 billion a year. So there's a lot of interest in getting people to believe that they need to consume fish oil. But before I talk about why fish oil is actually a poor choice, I'm first going to talk about the essential omega-3s, the difference between them, and the plant-based sources of them. So basically, how to get your essential omega-3s in a completely vegetarian or vegan way. So of course, omega-3 fats play essential roles in our body and we need to consume them in order to maintain good health. And there are three kinds of essential omega-3s. There's ALA, DHA, and EPA. And the most common omega-3 fatty acid is ALA. So flax seeds are the most concentrated source of ALA, and they actually have the most balanced ratio of omega-6 to 3 fatty acids. There's omega-6s and there's omega-3s, and most people generally consume an abundance of omega-6, and too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3 can actually cause imbalances in your health. So flax seeds are the best balanced source of omegas, highest source of ALA, and when they're ground, they are absorbed properly, so it's best to consume your flax seeds ground or milled. And you can either do that in a coffee grinder if you want it fresh, but it's also pretty easy to find ground or milled flax seeds in a health food store, and they're actually really affordable. Chia seeds and hemp seeds are also good sources of ALA, and the good thing about hemp seeds is they're actually a complete protein, so they contain all of your essential amino acids. So if you can purchase a blend of milled or ground flax seeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds, and use that in smoothies or baked goods, that's actually going to be a great balance of ALA for you. Other plant-based sources of ALA include camelina oil, which has been found to increase EPA and DHA levels, leafy green vegetables including spinach, romaine lettuce, and arugula, root vegetables including potatoes, yams, and beets, English walnuts, there's about 2.6 grams of ALA per ounce, winter squash, over 600 milligrams of ALA per cup, soybeans and tofu are also good sources of ALA. So pretty easy to get your ALA. Now, vegan sources of DHA and EPA are a little harder to come by because their sources are generally less consumed in our culture, but nonetheless, they're accessible via the plant kingdom. In fact, the reason that fish and fish oil provide DHA and EPA is because of what the fish eat, which is sea vegetables, algae, and cyanobacteria. So vegans and non-vegans can get their omega-3s the same way that fish do. AFA is the short for a really long name of a species of cyanobacteria, which is also known as blue-green algae, and it's a great source of DHA and EPA, as well as 65 vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. And a pretty well-known company that sustainably cultivates this cyanobacteria is E3 Live. You can either take shots of it or add it to your smoothies, and the reviews on it are amazing, and that's one of the main sources that fish get their DHA and EPA from. And algal oil is derived from algae or cyanobacteria, and it can be a great source of DHA and EPA. One nutrition study showed that algal oil and salmon are actually nutritionally equivalent sources of DHA. And algal oil from the genus Schizochytrium, if I'm pronouncing that right, contains significant levels of DHA and EPA, which is why it's used in many omega-3 supplements. In fact, what's really awesome is that the company Gardein actually uses algal oil in their vegan fishless fillets, which are really delicious alternatives to fish. So they use algal oil as a source of vegan DHA and EPA, which is awesome because now vegan fish and vegan fish alternatives can contain the same thing that fish contains, which is really cool. So another good source of DHA and EPA is seaweed, including wakame, kombu, dulse, and nori. Wakame is the highest in DHA and EPA. One typical 1 to 2 tablespoon serving of wakame provides 15 to 30 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids. So this is another way that fish get their DHA and EPA is by eating sea vegetables. Purslane is an edible weed that's commonly used in Mediterranean dishes. It's high in omega-3 fats, including DHA and EPA, and there are actually dozens of wild edible weeds and herbs and berries that are good sources of DHA and EPA, but they're not commonly cultivated or available in stores or farmers markets. You'd have to get into wild foraging for that. And people might be wondering, well, why not just eat real fish and take fish oil? Ethically, consuming fish and fish oil is not the same as consuming plant-based sources of omega-3s. And as far as ethics go, it is a big deal because while it's popular belief that fish don't feel pain, many doctors and scientists have actually confirmed that their nervous systems are far more complex than we thought and that fish do feel pain like mammals. Joseph Garner of Purdue University and his colleagues in Norway, for example, reported that the way goldfish responded to pain in a study demonstrated beyond a doubt that fish do experience pain consciously rather than simply reacting to stimuli with a reflex. Furthermore, in 2003, scientists from Edinburgh claimed to have witnessed conclusive evidence of pain perception in fish, including receptors in the heads of rainbow trout, which responded to electric and chemical shocks. And upon injecting bee venom into the lips of fish, the fish demonstrated a rocking motion, which was very similar to pain responses seen in mammals. And Dr. Lynn Snedden from the Institute of Integrative Biology confirmed that the behavior witnessed within the study fulfills the criteria for animal pain. Furthermore, fish are intelligent and social. As confirmed by Associate Professor Colin Brown of Macquarie University, fish have very good memories, live in complex social communities where they keep track of individuals and can learn from one another, and they can recognize themselves and others. Like, it's so sad because they can feel pain, they're social, they're intelligent, and they flee from harm. They don't want to be trapped in a net. They don't want to have their necks cut. They're living, breathing, sensitive creatures. And personally, I would rather choose plant-based sources of omega-3 than make another creature suffer for my needs. And that's just my crazy vegan logic. Furthermore, the environmental effects of eating fish are horrible. Just straight up horrible. And it's been hidden very well from us. And every year, as many as 2.5 Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the UN News Center, 3/4 of the world's fisheries are either overexploited or depleted. Another fact affirmed by the FAO is that for every 1 pound of fish caught, up to 5 pounds of unintended marine species are caught and discarded as bykill. This includes whales, this includes dolphins. In fact, scientists estimate that as many as 650,000 whales, dolphins, and seals are killed every single year by fishing vessels. So that alone makes it not worth it to choose fish or fish oil. But there's one other reason, and that's the case of rancidity in fish oil and the toxicity of fish. Cold-pressed and delicate oils have the risk of going rancid if they're not stored properly or refrigerated after opening. But fish oil in particular is very prone to rancidity, even under proper preserving conditions. On a personal note, when I worked at a health food store, a coworker and supplement specialist shared with me that they believe most people are consuming rancid fish oil without even knowing it because of how easily it goes bad. And the turpentine smell that refrigerated fish oil often has, as well as the fish oil burps that people get after taking just a teaspoon or two of fish oil, are actually telltale signs of oil rancidity. And if you don't believe me, you can just look it up. Rancidity and spoilage of fish oil is the #1 complaint, aside from the awful taste, that fish oil consumers report. And furthermore, consuming fish has never been more hazardous and dangerous to long-term human health. Mercury levels are the most recognized concern regarding fish consumption, and the FDA, as well as health organizations, have a lot of implemented warnings and recommendations for pregnant mothers to limit the types of fish they eat and how much fish they eat because of the risk of mercury toxicity for their developing child. And fish doesn't just contain mercury, it contains all sorts of environmental toxins, dioxins, pesticides, furans, PCBs, and then there's the saturated fat and cholesterol in fish, which a lot of people are convinced is good for them, so I'll just leave that one alone for now. And according to a report by the Environmental Working Group of an analysis of fish contaminants and nutrient data, people who follow the federal government's guidelines on seafood consumption are likely to consume too much mercury and too few omega-3 fatty acids. And the truth is, the plant kingdom is abundant with omega-3 fatty acids. The things that I listed in this video are not the only sources. In fact, there are so many wild edible weeds, foods, and berries that we just haven't cultivated, that are not common in our diet for the reason that we simply haven't cultivated them, and we've kind of just followed the herd and bought whatever we've been fed and bought whatever has been advertised to us and followed tradition. But if we were to actually start taking the time, even just a week out of every year to study wild edibles and get to know what the plant kingdom has to offer and start purchasing them or cultivating them, we would eventually be working towards a society where we have a diet abundant in nutrient-dense plant foods. But for now, the list is smaller than I'd like it to be. However, it's still feasible to get all your omega-3s on a vegan diet. If you're eating enough of these foods, if you're eating an abundance of healthy plant-based foods that contain omega-3s, you're gonna get what you need. And I think that, whether you're vegetarian, vegan, or omnivorous, incorporating and choosing plant-based omega-3 over animal-based omega-3 is worth doing for the animal kingdom, for the environment, and for your health.